Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a card prototype of your phone holder, something similar to one of these. The first step is to take your phone and measure it. Here's a laser cut replica of a phone and you'll need a ruler to measure it. Now we need to work in millimeters because they're more accurate. The millimeters are indicated by these little lines along the ruler here, and you need to remember for every centimeter, that distance, that's 10 millimeters. So it goes 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 100 and beyond. Now if I measure it, get the ruler to 0 at one end here, and then take a reading, that's 123 millimeters long, and it is 58 millimeters wide. Now on the computer itself, it only works to the nearest 5 millimeters. So these measurements, 123 long, which is that distance, and 58 wide, these need to be rounded to the nearest 5 millimeters. So 123, is it rounded to 120 or 125? It's rounded to 125. 58, is it rounded, is it closer to 55 or 60? It's closer to 60. So for the computer, we need to make that 125 and that's 60. That's what we're going to work with. Right. So with a piece of card and your ruler, in the middle, we're going to mark out the size of the phone, as I said, to the nearest 5 millimeters. So, approximately in the center, I'm going to do the length, 125, as I just said, and the width, 60. You might want to do this lightly, in case you make any mistakes. I'm going to do it more heavily so you can see. Now, that is approximately the size of my phone in the middle of the card. And if I check it, yeah, you can just see it's slightly larger, and that's because I've rounded it to the nearest 5 millimeters. Now we've got a bit of a problem. When you make your phone holder, what you actually want is this window to be slightly smaller than the phone, because look, if it's too big, you're going to see a gap like here. We don't want that gap. Also, if the window is too big, then the phone could very easily just fall out the front. We don't want that. So actually this window needs to be cut slightly smaller. So once you've got the size of the phone, we need to make a window that's slightly smaller. To do that, just inside the rectangle, so approximately here, I'm going to do a smaller rectangle. Again, you might want to do this smaller, you might want to do it lighter, so that you can rub it out if you need to. So now we have the size of the phone to the nearest 5 millimeters, and the window we're actually going to cut out, that window is smaller than the phone itself. Right, now you'll notice on these designs, you've got a nice design of this frame around it, and it's about 20 millimeters roughly all the way around. So you need to do a frame around the phone for you to incorporate your design. What I would do for that is make it 20 millimeters. Again, look on your ruler, you've got here 10, 20, or if it's indicating centimeters, it's going to say a 1 and a 2. So I would do a little dash at 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters above each side, like that. I'll do the ends as well. Make sure that distance is 20 millimeters. A little dash there, a little dash there. Same on all the other sides. And what I've done here is I've put little markers to indicate a distance of 20 millimeters outside my phone size. And then I would just do some really long lines, like this. Again, I would do it lightly if I were you. I'm going to do it more heavily so you can see. And this shows you roughly the size that your frame can be. Okay? Now that's just a boring rectangle, so you might want to curve the edges. It's more attractive and it's also probably more safe. So I would just do something like this personally. This might take some practice and you might want to use a compass to get it right. I have compasses if you want to borrow one. Okay, so great. Now we've got the size of the phone. Okay, the window we're actually going to cut out on the inside, and then we've got a frame around it which we can put our design on. Let's say I wanted to do it on the weather, for example. I might have a sun in this corner, and it's okay if when you add your design that you actually go outside of your frame, because we could always just make the frame a bit bigger. So I could have my sun there. If it's the weather, I might have a cloud up here, something like that. I'm rushing this, so you might want to take more time. Maybe lightning bolt. You get the idea? So you can then build up your design. Right. Once you're happy with that, you need to cut out your window. Now to do that, you're going to use a scalpel, which is it can be dangerous if used incorrectly. So you need to make sure you use it correctly. What I would do is make sure you're holding it like a pencil, like that. This is the sharp side, and you're going to need a blue mat underneath and a ruler. A steel rule is better for this. So what I do is I place it on the line I need to cut, and remember we're cutting out the inside window, and you don't move that ruler, hold it firmly down, you lean slightly in and then drag it back. You might need to go over twice. And if I check it, as you can see, that's going through. Then just repeat that process for the other sides as well. Again, the key is be firm, lean into the ruler, and just drag it back in one smooth motion. When it's done, that window should just pop out. There you go, see? This corner, I just need to add a small curve, which is easy to do with some tiny little cuts, and my window pops out. After that, you're going to need to cut the outside out with a pair of scissors. So you can cut that out with scissors, and you'll end up with a frame that looks something like this. Okay, once you've got a frame like that, then I would just colour it to make it really attractive. Remember, you want to make this as vibrant and interesting as possible. You might want to personalise it as well. Anyway, you get the idea. So I've started my lightning bolts in yellow. I would add other colours around my frame. The next step is then at making the back. To make the back, it's quite simple. You just put the back piece, this is a smaller bit of card, approximately half the height of the screen, and then draw around it. Alright, so once you've drawn around the whole thing, you'll then be able to just cut the back out with a pair of scissors. So it's very faint, but you can just about see what I've done. And you'll end up cutting that. So you'll have a front frame for your phone holder, and then a back piece, which will go together like that, and then we can glue it together with foam board. Remember, you start by measuring your phone length and width, and then rounding it to the nearest 5 millimeters. Here's an example. So, size of the phone, then the window you're going to cut out is going to be slightly smaller, and then you can add your frame around the outside. Okay, good luck.